Hey everybody, KC here. So I was reading an interesting story in the Washington Post about how a number of electric vehicle manufacturers, among them Tesla, BMW, VW, Volvo, what they've decided to do is they're no longer going to offer AM radio in their cars. And they're saying it's largely because AM radio creates some sort of magnetic interference in an electric vehicle. Go figure. At the same time, it's interesting, Ford is toying around with the idea that they're not going to offer AM radio in their cars at all anymore. Has nothing to do with electromagnetic interference. It has to do with the fact that, listen, they just want to keep up with the times. But there are a lot of people pushing back on this, saying, hey, listen, there are 4,000 AM radio stations in this country. And people spend an awful lot of time on AM radio listening to things like sports and the news. It may not be where they're turning to for music anymore, but there is a vital reason to have an AM radio in your car. Emergency broadcast system is another reason. But clearly what these companies have decided they want to do is they want to control the platform, right? They're going to actually deprive the consumer of a certain amount of choice and control the platform to the best degree that they can. Now, the other interesting thing that came out is GM apparently is considering not having Apple CarPlay in any of its vehicles. Because again, they want to control the platform to the best extent that they can. Now, and there are apparently other companies that are considering the same thing. Tesla, I guess, doesn't offer Apple CarPlay. This is all a matter, again, of controlling the platform and controlling the content to the best possible degree. Now, I find this kind of interesting. Mrs. Content Guy, she used to have a BMW. Now she has a Mini, which is made by BMW. And one of the things that she found in those cars was, while they had their own navigation systems, they were terrible compared to Waze. Right? Waze was so much better. And I think she would have been annoyed had those systems in those cars not allowed her to get on Waze. Now, these are not issues that concern me in my car right now. I'm driving a 2014 Ford Mustang, and the idea of having Apple CarPlay on a screen in front of me, it's not really relevant because I don't have a screen in front of me. This car, I think, was the last year before they were required to have screens. And so it sometimes feels like I'm driving an analog car in a digital world. Not quite that bad, but I like it. It doesn't really bother me not having a screen, although there are times that I would kill for a backup camera. There's a blind spot in the back that, it just is a little bit of a pain in the neck. But these are not really my issues. The thing is, I'm usually in favor of the idea of being as proprietary as possible and creating systems where, you're able to offer something that the competition is not able to offer. That usually makes an awful lot of sense. It's a way to differentiate yourself. But there's another component of that, which is, I think it has to be better than what the other companies are offering, right? If your navigation system isn't as good as Waze, you shouldn't have a navigation system that doesn't let people get on Waze. In the same way that Apple CarPlay is enormously convenient, and I use it a lot when I get in rental cars, and it's very intuitive, and I really like it, and because I'm used to it, it's really easy. Take that away, you better replace it with something that's going to be not just as good, but something that's actually better. If you don't do that, then you're only actually going part of the way. And if you're going to win the battle for market share and you're going to win the battle for consumers' hearts and minds, again, it's important not just to be different, but also to be better in a definable and tangible way. Anyway, that is what's on my mind this morning. And as always, I want to hear what's on your mind.